Hi, so today we're going to do a few things, but before we can put on our hardware, we do have to make the flashing. We just don't want to glue it in, but we do need it so that we can get spacing for it. So that's basically what we're going to do today, is work on the divider and the flashing. So the divider has to be glued in both to the bottom and to the front and the back. So in order to do that, we want to be able to put our connecting pieces, and this isn't big enough, but I'm just going to show you. We want to glue connecting pieces on all sides, on the bottom and then on the two short sides, and we want to do it on both sides. So let's get that done first, and then we will work on the foxing. So I need two pieces for the bottom, so I'm going to make that flush with one side and fold it and then cut it. That's one, and we need two of those for the bottom. So let's make another one of those. We'll make it flush. Okay, I need to be able to get more picture in the frame. Fold it and cut it. Just a little bit too big, I thought so. Okay. So with these, we actually want to make a pretty good corner on those, and some of them we do very small. Some of them we do very small triangles, but this one we're actually going to make quite almost a 45-degree angle triangle. I can't get that apart, sorry. So you can see I've made that quite sharp, and I'm going to do this one pretty much the same, 45-degree angle. And the reason is, when we put these on here, we're also going to have some on the side, and we don't want them to overlap terribly. So let's go ahead and make these 45-degree angles. Okay. Those are for the bottom. Let's do the two sides, and so we were going to need 4 pieces of this. So I'm going to make it flush on the bottom and then fold it. And I don't think that'll fit. No, it might fit somewhere else. And oh, that one might work. And I just need one more. Okay, and then these also, we're going to do 45-degree angle triangles. Okay, on all of them. I like the brown box that I made, but I actually really like black chipboard because it makes all of my colored papers just kind of pop. The colors just really look cool. Okay, so what we're going to do is I'm going to start with my bottom, and I'm going to show you how we're going to glue this. So I'm going to put my pin in my shirt, and I'm only going to glue one side at a time, and I'm going to keep just a little bit away from my fold, and I'm doing it on the outside. So with this, we need to get it as flush with the edge as we can, and sometimes it's easier to stand this up against your table and then put the bottom of your connector on the table and then roll it up to your page, kind of like this. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put my edge on there. I'm going to get them pretty much in line, and then I'm going to roll it up. And so you can see that made it really straight with that bottom edge. So then I'm going to go ahead and burnish this down. And I have a little bit of glue hanging over. I want to get that off because I don't want this to stick to anything. I want it to be pretty free-flowing. Okay, so I'm going to do the other side basically the same. I'm going to put my glue on one side of my connecting piece. And then again, I'm going to stand, you want to make sure this is at the bottom, your other piece. I'm going to stand it up here, and I'm going to kind of lay that in, and then oops, that got a little crooked, so I don't want it crooked. Nope. There we go. This is a little futzy doing this part. Okay, there we go. And so then I'm going to burnish that down, and you can see it's just about as perfect as I can get it. So the reason we do that is if you have your bottom made and you have your line drawn, that is going to get glued on one side, and then we will glue it on the other so that it stands up like that. But we're not going to do that right now. We're not going to do that until we get all of our hardware in, but we are going to make this. Okay, so the next one we want to do are the sides. And we're going to pretty much do the same technique. We want to put our glue on one outside half, and then I am going to push this. Make sure it's there we go. And then I'm going to burnish it. Okay. And then I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. And it's been a while since I have made this, my first box out of the brown chipboard and brown papers. So the easiest way that I've found to do this is to go ahead and have your paper standing up, push this into it, and push down on this half, not the half that has the glue, but then while you're holding with one finger down there, kind of rub your finger across the glue part. And then go ahead and burnish it. And again, yep, that is just about as close to the edge as I can get it. So we have two edges done, and they look like that because, again, this is going to get glued into one side, this is going to get glued to the bottom, and then this is going to get glued to another side. So let's finish our last side. And I'm going to put glue on half of the outside. And again, if you just hold the unglued side down to your table and then just push this up against it, there we go. Okay, there's one. And let's finish the last one. So I'm putting my unglued side down on my table. I have to finish the other side of this one. And I'm just going to push it up. And then I'll burnish everything down really well. There we go. So it should look like this. You should have wings on each small side and then wings on the bottom. So let's go ahead and put this one away for now. Just put it to the side, and let's get our foxing pieces, my F2, and then my foxing. And I'm going to erase that line that goes completely through it. There we go. So what we're going to do with this is it's almost like a box, only it only has 3 sides. So we are going to attach these using our connectors, but again, because we want this to fold, we want to keep a little gap in there on both sides. And the best way to do that is to go ahead and have at least a throwaway piece of chipboard that you can use as a spacer when you're putting these together. So I'm going to need 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to need 4 pieces of this. So I'm going to start cutting. And there's 1. Yep, I don't know what that is. That's not quite right. And these connectors are always, generally, they're 1 inch and then they're scored in half so that they fold. So there's 2. There's 3. I don't think that'll fit. Yeah, that'll fit. And 4. Now these ones you can just do your imperfect square on these so that they're flat across the edge and then tapered. So I'm going to cut all of my imperfect squares or triangles. Sorry. Okay. Now I'm going to start with my big piece. Let's put the big piece in the middle. Push this away. This is my spacer, and these are my 2 sides. So what I want to do, first of all, is it's just like a box. This folded, when I open it, the inside, I just want to glue 1/2 of that and then put it on my long piece. So let's go ahead and put, and again, stay away from your fold. You don't want glue in your fold yet. Okay. And I've turned mine the other end. Oops, it's sliding. And then I'm going to burnish it. Okay. And I'm going to do the same thing on the other one, on the second one. Keep it away from your fold. Put your glue only on 1/2 of the inside of that. And make sure that you're gluing on the same side. Okay, and this one's just a little bit long, so I'm going to go ahead and trim a little piece off. And this one's a little bit long, so I'm going to trim a little piece off here too. Okay, there we go. Now, we're going to make it just as if it were a box without the bottom. We're going to put these on each end. Okay, so in order to do that, you're going to need your spacer. And I'm going to work one side at a time. I'm going to go ahead and put glue on the inside. See, we've already glued that. We're going to put glue on the inside. I'm going to put my spacer. Ooh, that's awful thick spacer. Okay, I'm going to put it just part way so that I can see my end, my edge, so I know where to line up my edge. And I'm going to line it up so that my tops are even. There we go. And my bottoms are even. And then I will burnish that. And then I'm going to flip it and do the same with this second piece. I will put glue on the inside. I'm going to use my spacer. And see, I'm pulling it down this way a little bit so that I can see at least one of my edges so that I can get these okay. Now I got glue in there and I want to clean that out. I don't want that in there. You can do this with a pencil. You can do it with another piece of paper even if you don't have a bone folder. You don't need to have a bone folder. And then I'm going to go ahead and burnish. Now I'm going to get my box, and what we want that to do is we want that to make a lip here, and we're not going to glue it in yet. Do not glue it in yet. But I basically want the edge of my long one to be glued to the flat part of this when I pull it up. So in order to do that, let's cut these first, at least one of them, so that I can show you how to do this. Oh, we have some cut. Okay, one of these I want to be a perfect point, and the other one flat. Okay, so in order to do that, I am going to glue just one side of this, and I'm gluing on the outside this time. Okay, I put that as close to the edge here. Now, when I go to glue, and it's just like we did with the box, we're going to go ahead and put glue on this side. And I'm going to put a little bead of glue inside that crevice. Now, you want to push this down towards the table as you pull up, and then you want to put your paper on that. And then I'll go ahead and burnish that. And I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. I do want to have this to be a point. One side's a little bit flatter and one side's very pointed. So on the outside, I know it looks like it's the inside because it gets glued in, but we call this the outside because it folds like that. And I'm going to go ahead and, I actually didn't, that's okay. I'm going to go ahead and put that down there, push it, and then burnish it. And then I'm going to put glue on the other half. And I want to put a bead of glue inside that valley crevice. I'm going to push down on the outside and pull it up, and then I'm going to attach my connector in there. Now it looks crooked, but once we get everything glued in the box, it's going to be okay. So go ahead and get your bottom and lay that in there. And once we have everything, all of our metal put on here and fixed, then we're going to glue this in. But don't glue that in yet. We don't want that glued in yet. It's just a little bit big, but that's okay. I can make it work. Okay, so in order for us to find out where we want to put our metal pieces, our findings, we need to have this just laying in here, and then we need to lay our top on top, and that keeps it from shifting around as we mark where we want to put our metal findings. Okay. So if you have that to the front and your smaller space to the left, go ahead and put that on there, and you can look at the back. Oh, I'm having a hard time getting that on. There we go. So kind of even things out on the back. Make sure your corners are together and your back is together. And then go ahead and get your hinges. And I'll be back in just a minute. I have to find mine. Okay, so I found my hinges. And my hinges have 3 holes in them. One in the middle and one on each end. So I need my pencil in order to mark this. And basically, I can take this apart and mark one. And the easiest way to do it is to fold it so that it is leaning over your chipboard. And if you want them exact, you can measure. And I'm thinking I'm going to put my middle hole about 2.5 inches on this side and 2.5 inches. So my middle hole is right at 2.5 inches. I'm going to go ahead and mark that, and I'm going to mark these 2 also. Okay, whoops. And then you're going to want to have to measure in. I'm going to lay this on here. It's just easier. I'm sorry. It's easier to do it this way. I'm going to measure it in 2.5 inches. One, 2.5, and I want my middle one to be right there. Okay, so I'm going to mark that, mark that, mark that. Okay, so if you have an awl, let's see. Be careful not to puncture your fingers, but you want to go ahead and take your awl, and even if you just make a small indent where you need those holes to be, you don't even have to poke completely through yet, just enough so that you know where you're poking. Okay. So then I'm going to make sure that I put one finger on each side on the inside so I don't poke myself, because this is very sharp. And I'm going to work this through like that. And then I'm going to do the same with these. I'm going to put a finger, and it's easy if you turn it on its side, you can pretty much see where your fingers are and where your awl is going. If you don't have an awl, I'm trying to think, you might be able to use a pen. Use a pin first to get it started, and then push your pencil or pen through the hole. I use an awl a lot, so it's a nice tool to have. And that's all it is. It's about, 3.5, 4 inches tall. And it's just got a little bulb on the bottom. It's very sharp on the edge. Okay, so we've already gone ahead and gotten the top part. Now, you will need to have your brads. So let me get my brads. They're right here. And on the hinge, I'm going to use some pretty small brads. They don't have to be terribly big, but again, I need 6 for the top and 6 for the bottom. So I'm just going to start with the top one for now. And I will start at the very top. I will put it through my hinge, hold it with your thumb, put it through the middle one. Make sure you hold it. I have a lot of neat little tools, but you don't really need them. You can use a Phillips or a flathead screwdriver to do this, to open it. Now, I am going to make sure that my brad end is going up and down so that it opens side to side. And let me show you what I mean. I'm going to do the first one. Okay, so I hope you can see this. Let me pull it. So I have my brad going across this way. There it is. I don't have it going up and down because it would be harder to hide it with paper if I did that. So I got the first one in. I'm going to put the second one in, and it should just go ahead, hold it. And again, I want my openings, my feet of my brad to go side to side. And again, you can use a straight edge screwdriver, flatten them down as best you can. And you can use the side of your screwdriver. Okay. And then we're going to do the third one. Put it in there, hold it. And again, I want it to open side to side so that my paper will hide it. So there, we have half of it on. Let's go ahead and do the other side. And there we go. Now, however your hinges are, you may have two-sided hinges, and that's okay too. But you just have to start with one of them and get it in there. And then once you get it in there, you can go ahead and twist it so that your teeth are going to open, your feet are going to open one way. Okay, and I need 2 more. I thought I had enough out. I need 2 more for the top, and then I'm going to need more for the bottom. So I'm going to go ahead and make sure my teeth are going across this way. Whoops! And again, it's very easy to just get these open. And one more here. And this one I have to turn just a little bit and open it. Okay, once you have the top on, go ahead and get your bottom with the flashing and put your lid on top of that flashing, and then get it as square as you can on the sides and hold it. And then you can draw your circles for the bottom. And you can take it apart and do the exact same thing. We want to go ahead and get our awl back out. And I'm just going to poke a little bit to get started so that I know where I'm poking. If you don't have one of these magic mats, you can use one of these, your throwaway chipboard, and just hold it under there. Be careful not to keep your fingers where you think you're going to be poking though. Okay, and then again, I'm going to go ahead and hold my fingers on either side of where I want to poke, because you don't want to poke yourself with this. It will cut your finger. You want to be very careful. I've known adults that have poked themselves terribly with these in art class. Okay, so I have all of my holes poked. Now, what I want to do is I want to go ahead and put my lid back on and make sure, yeah, that I can see. There we go. Okay. So once you're sure that your holes are going to be where you want them, you can go ahead and take your foxing out and set it aside, because we're not ready for that yet. And I need more of these. So the first one, I always start in the middle. This is a personal preference. You don't have to start in the middle. You can start where you like. And I'm going to push that through. And I'm going to hold it while I open it. This is a little tricky. And once I get it kind of open, you have to be able to keep your finger in there. I'm going to go ahead and get my screwdriver or your spatula, and I'm going to open that. And when you look at these brads, one side is taller than the other, so it makes it a little bit easier to get your spatula in there. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and do the middle one on this side also, so that it won't flop around so much on me. Okay, and once you have at least those two, then you can go ahead and start putting the rest of them in. And remember, you do kind of have to hold your brad so that it doesn't fall out again. And that's the trickiest part of this, actually, is keeping your brad from falling out the other side. And I'm keeping mine kind of at a 90-degree angle so that I can keep my thumb in there, or my finger in there, to hold my brad. Okay, and I need two more. Oh, these brads are so little. They're hard to control. And one last one. Putting your hardware on is probably the hardest part of doing these projects. Okay, so there we have our hinges on. That looks good. Now the next thing, I don't know if you have gotten this set of brads, but they come from very small and then they size up. And so I'm going to get 4 of my bigger ones and pull those out for my base. Now, doing the base is fairly easy to do. I'm going to open it. This is my bottom. Okay. So I don't know if you can see this, but you already put these connecting papers in here. And if you look at them closely, you can see the corner between the two pieces, the one going this way and the one going that way. And for mine, it's right there. So in order to keep them all about the same, I'm going to go into that corner, and that's where I'm going to put my holes for these bigger pieces on all four sides, right in that corner. Now again, I'm going to put my fingers far enough apart that I'm still supporting my board so that I can poke bigger holes in this, because I don't want to jag myself, but I do want to support my box so that I don't rip it or crinkle it or cause any kind of issue with it. There we go. Okay, so that's going to be for these bigger ones. And when we're ready, we will go ahead and put those in those holes and open them up, but then we'll cover them. We're not ready for these yet, so go ahead and put these larger ones aside for later. I'm going to close this because we're past a half an hour, and so tomorrow I'm going to show you how we will put on our latches. We have two pieces for our latch. We have one for the top and one for the bottom, and again, there are a few little tricks that will help you to do this. So that's what we're going to do on our next video. I hope you've enjoyed this. I hope you've gotten your flashing, your foxing, your divider, and at least your hinges on for now. I'm sorry, I did have to stop. We had a delivery. So what we will do next time is we are going to go ahead and decorate some of this. So we did put our hinges in. I'm sorry, I have to remind you, don't put your hinges in too tight because we have to take them back out. We basically just put them in and snug them in so that we would make sure that they fit, but we're going to take them out for our next video so that we can decorate with paper. And then, because on the outside, when we have our hinges in here, we do want paper under our hinges, and you don't have to do it now because I'm going to walk you through it next time. So don't worry about it, but don't snug those down so tight that you can't get them out next time. Okay, I hope you've enjoyed this video. This has been a lot of fun for me. We have a lot of things we have to do in our next video, and I hope you're enjoying this. It's a really cute little project, and I will see you next time. Thanks for joining me. Bye-bye.